everybody. Welcome to your daily fix with NFA OFC. Not financial advice, of freaking course. If you have a sec, go and read that disclaimer at the very beginning just because it's important. You don't just click on things, you got to read them. It's February 22nd, 23rd, Friday. Lucky people on the other side of the world. We have one more day over here to get there. And Space Boy's here already, fucking killing it. I love it. Hey, buddy. We're going to go over the money flow cycle like we usually do. Again, giving us a heads up on how the money's moving in the market so we can make smarter decisions. Market cap, dominance, Bitcoin, ETH. Then we're going to go into our usuals because we've been able to kind of see how they've been moving over quite a few weeks, which has been really interesting, and how our indicators are working out. So Cosmos, which is Atom, Kasuma, Casper, and Phantom. Casper's always a fun one to look at. And then we're going to enter into, I believe it's gas, which I haven't spent a lot of time on, to be honest with you. So we're going to do that one from scratch. Hey, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get Pope up in here and see what the frick we're going to do today.
Let's do it. Digging right in. It's going to be a quick one today, this week, trying to get a lot of stuff done for everybody. And go over a few things as we always do. Pretty exciting day.
It was sunny, so that's something.
It's nice outside today.
I know.
All righty. Here we are. We can already see it's still playing out to plan. I love that we get to always say there's no real big surprises. But let's dig in a little deeper and have that look. We are pulling right back down to this line where we thought the curve would come, where the critical greed has hit, and we wanted to see this consolidation area. We've definitely, a couple of days ago, we saw how fast that wiped some people out, and some great entries. Still on the downwards trend. Still looking like we're holding this line. Now would be where we want to start to see the momentum up again. Here's our nice retracements. Profits moving in, profits coming out. Profits moving in, profits moving out. We want to start contesting, like we've been saying, this one high 1.9s to wick up to the 2s, and then start leaving this as support, the high 2s, as opposed to the 1.8s, the 1.88s, and whatnot. So no big surprise. We now have a parallel down. So I think we are exactly, we should be consolidating, facing this curve, and then hoping to see this go off up to this 1.98 to 2, and probably back down. A little more deep than we thought, but it is right on that line, and that's why this 1.88 we put here.
Can I throw something out there?
You sure can.
Oh, before you move on, although we can see it from this point, but those three little red candles, is this, I feel like this is something I've seen before that indicates kind of a movement up after. Is that, I'm starting to recognize it, but I don't know. Okay. Because that's a candle pattern. Although I have said I don't believe candle patterns exist. However, I think I'm proving myself wrong as I'm spending more time on these charts.
You got 3 touches right there on your daily on a downward. Boom, boom, boom. Our next candle is tomorrow. It needs to hold here or come here, and we're on our way back up.
Sweet.
There's a name for this one, where it's the same size wick and body, but I don't have the sheets in front of me, and I don't.
That's okay. We can look, but I think there are ones that sort of indicate bullish, indicate bearish, kind of what they mean. So yeah,
we do have, when you look at it. Am I in the tool? Yep. We've gone up, right? Clearly, and we're bouncing around in a consolidating triangle. Right? So you have your bullish wedge all in here on a pattern. I mean, that can continue to go quite down quite a bit, but that's pretty messy. But yeah, we have a parallel channel down, a long up, consolidating into a triangle. It's absolutely poised for a breakout, a pullback, a retracement. We want to hold this. We don't want it to come back down in. Where are my tools? That we want this part of the squiggle to stay on top when it breaks out. So let's just get rid of that. So now we want to consolidate, either come right back up to this level, cross, back up to this level, across, back up to this level, across, and that. Like, we want to make all these little steps. But we know in those steps, we'll have these little pull downs and little bits here. And, you know, it's always like this in either direction. Let's see if I can do this a little better. It likes to stick. Now, this could also happen, as we know, in one candle. This can happen so fast. But there's been a lot of money. There's been a lot of money entered lately, some taken. The halving is coming. In the big scheme of things, we haven't had a big pullback yet. And did we ever last time for the halving? So that's why I wonder, is it going to happen again? The main difference is we have institutions this time. That's a big deal. They're buying a lot and they're selling a lot. Grayscale is selling a lot. So far, it has been doing what we think it's going to be doing. The indications there are to either consolidate and break out or break out fast. Everything that's going on in the market, I'd be shocked for us to see us come down. And if we are, we're coming down to this 188. Dominance. This is on the daily. I think we stole this from somewhere else and we moved it. I think it was from there. We're actually starting to get some consolidation here. And we're looking like it wants to go down. This is the closest we've come up to the micro bear cross. And when we're talking DOM, this is when we want the micro bear. We want this to go down because that's the money going into alts. Right now, we have a very interesting pattern. Down, flat bottom, triangle. Ooh, it won't let me go where I want it to go. Inside this triangle, what we want to see is an attempt to break out and then fall.
When you're going upside down, then do you just get the same retest but from underneath, as you would anticipate it going up? Like it goes out a little bit, retests, and then jumps down?
The inverse is true, if that's what you're asking. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And in this case, we want it to go down. Do we ever want this to go down? Because that means it's an alt run. And that's where these big percentage and juicy gains are. And we would love to get down into this area here. We know we'll probably stop at a few. More on the daily. That's a weekly. We'll hopefully get down to these levels and we'll have a stop here and there between them. But when it does it, it seems to do it rather quick. And these little percentages are massive gains in the alt market. So dominance is finally doing what we've wanted. We've drawn this to close so many times that we've wanted it the whole way up. And I kept saying we were getting these teases. This is when we see these massive returns. And this is why it's important to position ourselves in these longer trades, because when you're in them and you're holding them and this all of a sudden happens and the money goes in, you're already in position. You're not on the sidelines trying to get it. The strategies behind a lot of this isn't like we talked about the last few days. If you're swing trading, day trading, that should never be your bag. Because when massive events like these happen, you're on the sidelines. You're missing a bunch. And if you're in these good projects like we found early, we know they're going to have these little pullbacks, but we're still making wicked gains in the long term. So the diversification of both is to your advantage. And then you learn the ebbs and the flows. When it pulls back, you learn the pulse of the coin or trading pair, and you just buy more on those pullbacks if it's a decent sale. Don't panic. So this is where we're hoping for. This would be a nice couple of steps down. Looks like we're en route for that. As long as this can hold or go up, which we've been saying. Bitcoin. Can anybody say we're surprised? I mean, we're off by a few bucks. Like literally 100 and some odd bucks.
I think for a casual squiggle, you're pretty spot on.
Thanks. And we have our critical green, and we know this means consolidation, or we're pulling down. We have 3 right now. Boom, boom, boom. 3 in a row. Here's the major difference. We did not stay out of this weekly consolidation. Remember when we drew up here, we said we wanted to hold this line. If we don't, we're coming down to these areas. If this starts to curl more, this could happen for 2 reasons. If the price is being pulled back, obviously shorting, money leaving the market, the total market cap, all that kind of stuff. But if the total market cap stays the same, and Bitcoin's going down and the dominance is going down, you're going to start seeing some run in the alts. So until I really start to see a curl as opposed to exhaustion, I'm not overly worried right now. I still think we're in this area of the wicks, our support at 58 or 50,800. And we know we're fighting to get up to this just shy of 54,000. And that's our next target. But we've had so much momentum, it needs to cool down a bit. Right now, no reason to panic. Nothing. I mean, maybe the news is telling us. Let's see. There's a risk of pullback escalates below 52K. Well, that's right where we've always saying we're going to be. Crap. Doom and gloom. Bitcoin price could triple. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it could, yes, but let's look at the...
I don't know if anybody else doesn't remember the crash of 1987. So I don't know what that means I'm supposed to be prepared for, but maybe I should.
Stock markets, the end of the 80s boom, do nothing era, I believe it was called, in the markets. You could literally do nothing and you just made a ton of money. And then that came to a crashing halt. And then also with real estate. All right, so that's Bitcoin. No big surprise. And I mean, the same with Ethereum. Right now, the narratives are pretty strong. We've been waiting for this time for quite some time. And being prepared for it is where we want to be. I mean, I don't think it's going to last this long, for the record, but yeah, nice. I still want to see us do the same thing. We want to contest and break this 3060. Then the next one's going to be that 3150, and then the 3300s. And ETH still hasn't had its full day, as we've been saying. And since the start of the show, we've called ETH. It's been great. No major surprise. Same thing. We'll probably consolidate for a bit. We can move this over. I mean, it's Thursday. The weekend's coming. We know typically, and Friday for some of you already. We know things typically slow down on weekends. So am I expecting to see a lot of volatility in price? No, more consolidation. Again, any influx of money in or out of the market swings the complete other direction.
I think also, like, at the end of the weekend, we were talking about how, the weekend doesn't happen much, but we just need to be really aware that the weekend on the other world starts a day early. So they're kicking it on our Sunday, right? So if we're sitting there just waiting for Monday, we may miss something if we don't check it, and we don't get to see you guys on the weekend. So just keep your little antennas up, I think.
Yeah, and I do. You and I were talking today, like our Sundays is a good day to look for entries.
Mm-hmm.
People have taken out some profits over the weekend. The market's had a soft pullback, or you've taken your profits with your swing budget and you're on the sidelines with dry powder and you're looking for entries. And we're going to do a little bit of that today on this show. So let's get back to where we were looking at.
Let's check out Adam, my friend.
So we took our entry, we cleared off where we would have said take profits, get out, and let's go. And we were waiting for this belly of the curve. And it hasn't happened yet, but we drew this consolidation box and we knew we wanted it to come around in this area. And if we don't see this belly soon and we get more of this action, then the belly is coming down here, and so is the price action. So if we don't get this, we get the price action in this area, and we get an entry. If we get this, we get the price action in this area, holding support, and we get an entry. And this is what I'm talking about, patience. We know Cosmos is going to do well again. We've taken the profits from when we looked earlier at it. Or if you had FOMO and you're like, yeah, I do want to get in on this. Well, we're coming up to your opportunity for longing. These are, if you want to play nuance, we're always looking for these bellies of the micro bull, micro bear. Because we know the crosses is when it switches. And if you wait to play the crosses, always wait for the retracements. Because if you just wait for the cross and buy, first thing it's going to do is it's going to retrace. There's from bull to bear right away. And here you would have got in, but you could have got in on that retracement after it, just as good of an entry. And then you're up again. And now you're here, you're waiting for this belly the other direction to get out. Clear as day on these. So we're looking for this entry in Cosmos. This is where patience, like I said, comes in. Because just in this last local little bit, just like we've been playing with Casper, that's a 10% swing. And it might be a fast one. So if it starts to tighten in here with this indicator, if this does start to curl, then we know these are our entries. And we'll probably have our support and resistance as the steps on the way up. So our two targets for an entry would be somewhere in here when we see that belly. Ooh, that's a wide gap. Or somewhere down in here if we're seeing this belly. And these are obviously just for show, not for any sort of exactitude. But I mean, we get pretty close with our squiggles sometimes.
Anna America made just an observation. She said on the daily, it seems to be just about ready to cross into the micro bear.
$9.4 on the daily. We are. So it makes sense. We would be getting down into here. And if we get that cross, we are down in this level. And that's why we'd watch. Good point that we're on the daily. I was on the 4s. Sorry, a lot of shit on the plate today. But I typically always do watch on the 4s. Yeah. If we don't get this curl, it literally could do a Casper and just shoot like that and then curl down here. And your entry would be somewhere in this line. There would be no surprise to that either. Because that's kind of where your supports and your resistances are. I would like to see it hold here, personally. I think that's our narrative. But we also know narratives within cryptos move. So it might be off. And that's why I said I wouldn't be entering. I'd be waiting and watching. I think more realistically we are, and hopefully here, between here and here.
It'd be interesting to see, like, some bears and some bulls last for like hours and you get across and then it dips right back down. So it'll be interesting to see.
And that's why I look at nuances. How long and how often does it happen? It was like that rose call before the show yesterday I did with you, got in on a little bit, then I was out. It was a quick few percent, and it was just all done by looking at, hey, it's forming a double bottom on the 4 hours, and it was a great trade. It made me happy. It was nice to be in the trades again. I was feeling like I was standing on the sidelines a little too long, building up my sheepo meter, so to speak.
Welcome back. We're happy to have you back.
Right. We'll leave that to see how that plays out. And if you are looking for an entry, that's kind of how I look at things. Now, obviously, we're on the 4 or the daily there, as she was looking. That's how I attack it if I'm looking for something. And I look at how much support in the past and the money is moving to see how it goes. So we'll keep that to check in over the next few days. Where else were we? Phantom. Ooh, my bad. So we can kind of see what's going on. Phantom. What a darling. Now, this looks like on the daily, we could be coming up to a cross. Let's clean this up a bit. This looks like these could easily come down and start to do this again. and we have price action on the way down to where we were back at this entry. That's totally possible. It's also totally possible to consolidate and then step up to all these levels of where our original goal when we entered this trade was to get to up here. We talk about healthy retracements. This was a healthy retracement and then some, but we knew we had a lot of money pulled out of the market last few days. But we are showing support and consolidation in here. And just like Kate said, it takes just a little bit of money in a quick second, and then this thing's off to the races again. And now we're in this direction, so to speak.
After that big push recently, a lot of the micro bull is kind of curling over, and then it kind of meets the micro bear and then takes off again. It's been really interesting to watch.
Yeah, and that's the bullish trends, right? You will get these corrections, and then it'll go again.
Mm-hmm. Like it teases you. It looks like it's going to touch.
You're not going to see as big of these pullbacks as you might expect, or that we've been recently getting. But even on this daily down, we have all the touches. Our trend lines are telling us just from here to here that we retest here and we're off. If we don't, we're following this trend. So just with these quick daily trend lines right there following, yeah, this next day, excuse me, is a big deal for Phantom. So if you miss this trade and you're looking at wanting to get in and it turns and money starts flowing, here's a great entry on a great token. If it does continue to follow this downward trend and it does get the cross, could be a great start of short. And if you want to just long, we wait till we get the curve like we were just talking about here on Cosmos, Atom. And we look for these entries. So Phantom definitely has, to me, I think, a day to retest, and it's probably going to go off again, depending on where I said, I think we're going to have that little bit of a pullback pre-halving. Is it now? Not really. I don't think so, because as we've been saying the whole show, everything's been playing out as we thought. Everything seems natural right now, other than Twitter feed is, kind of crazy, and that's usually a good indication of shit sometimes. Kusama, I mean, same thing. This has been a great trade. We ended up getting in here. We called to entry here, which you would have wicked on. And even with this retracement right now, it's holding this support. This is another trade. If you've been wanting to walk up this with Kusama, wait for your next day to make sure this isn't pulling down. If I'm not in this trade right now, I know we can do some quick homework. Let's take away a lot of this stuff and go, okay. Outside of we already know, I mean, it did follow everything already. The daily. Is this candle we're on? It hasn't finished, right? I mean, there's a name for that candle, that too. It is following this downward trend right now. It needs to fight. The curl is coming. It is indicating the price is coming down. Four hours definitely telling us that. but we have 3 down. It's been holding these lines and mostly in here. If it holds this in here, I still think it's going to come down most likely into these areas. These alts, they have massive swings in time frames. And we got to have faith in our indicators. We're on our way down on Kusama right now. We'll get a better entry. Most likely, better entry would probably be in here.
I'm going to keep my eyes out for that because I feel like I really missed something on this bad boy. So
if we do see that pull and that pullback that we were talking about, or that might be coming, it could very easily pull down a lot more. I think in here would be reasonable for an entry. Day-wise, I don't know, but I would think somewhere in here would absolutely be a reasonable entry for Kusama.
did you know that Anna America took profits on Kusama this morning?
No.
And a thank you to you for showing it to us.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. See, now on a daily, that's different when I look on a 4. Interesting. And this is what I like when I'm swing trading. I like these W's, these ebbs and flows. Get in, get out. Here's a perfect entry. Here's a perfect exit. Indicators, everything is screaming entry and exit with our system in a day, 12%. Another textbook entry and exit. 16 hours. Yeah, I think we're coming down a bit, and I think we start to sway again. That's what I mean. This isn't the crystal ball. You have to, if you're swing trading, this is something you have to constantly monitor. This is the work. You can put a limit entry there. Might not be a good limit entry when it hits. Might be on its way straight down and you catch it. That's never fun. That's why it's important to check. But when you're playing the long game, like we've been talking about the last little bit, all these little ebbs and flows over this, they don't make a difference, especially with some of how these things take off. Yeah, another interesting one. So those were the 3 that we've been focused a lot on. I didn't want to do each one of these that we've always done with all of our lists, because some of them we said get out, take profit, and now you take the same fundamentals that we've been talking about with all of these, walking through them to the hunt for entries if you're swing trading. Casper is, I mean, it has been textbook the entire time. Came down, supported. We were just off the cross, just off, right? Big up, consolidation, retracements. Big up, pulled back. Looks like we're going to hold this line in here. I'd be watching for in here. We might get a little down. I bet you back down to whatever this is, 039. I'd probably be looking for an entry somewhere in the, funny how it just locks to that day, in this area, and then start to ride it up again. If you missed the short the whole way down, you missed where we said enter to go all the way up. Here's another opportunity, hopefully, that if it does give us a little more pullback, which it seems it might, you have an entry. if you're not worried about splitting a fractions of a few cents, and you don't want to watch this all the time, current price right now here today to its most localized high, we're looking at another 39%. Not too shabby. Not financial advice, fucking course, turn around tomorrow and plummet. Probably not likely. But that's why we review them all the time. We assess. That's why we take profits. And we play statistical probability and odds. Right now, looking pretty good. How we all doing? Everybody all right?
I think everyone's okay.
All right. This was a request by Spaceboy right at the last minute before the show. And I know nothing about this token. So I was like, why not? It's looks like Monday, March 13th of 23. It came to fruition. And here we are. Some nice capitulation, some compression. We can just quickly see an up and consolidation and a triangle. It'd be nice to break out and go.
I'm really glad we're looking at something like this, just because I have seen a few that I've come across that look like fairly, for lack of a better word, young coins.
Mm.
And I find some interesting, long enough to have the indicators that fire, but not long enough for me to know, to be able to look back and find a lot of a support and resistance. So I'm really glad we're doing something like this.
Nice. Well, let's dig in.
Do it.
So on the weekly, we definitely can just quickly see we have a triangle. And it seems to be holding, I would say, right there for support and resistance. On the weekly, it looks like. And this is our retest, which, I mean, it's still out, and it's still out if it ended right here. And it, with the way the market's going, this does look like we're in that trend. If we look at our stochastic, which it's not letting me grab. Oh no, interesting. We're in just past the buy entry, according to them. RSI is right damn near in the middle, and it looks like we're having a little more sell activity than buy activity, which would explain that. So let's drop just a couple weekly support and resistance, where ironically looks like right about where we're at, into here. Almost in this level with the wicks. Came close, interrupts, hits, makes sense. Enough. On the daily.
That critical greed fired all the way up there.
Oh, that little dot way on the wick. How cute, right? All right. So the daily is obviously a completely different picture. And it does look like we're about to have a little downward action here. It looks like our resistance, support and resistance on the daily is somewhere in this range here. That being said, on the daily, we have, where's our most localized? Young tokens can be tough. Thanks for your patience, guys.
Thanks for doing all this work for us. We'll sit as long as you need.
It's actually quite interesting. What are these percentages? These are huge. Yeah, 13. Looks like about 13 in either direction at the moment, doesn't it? Probably a little more on the bottom one. Yeah, about 13 in either direction. There. Don't get much more in the median than that. Yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. Ugly. Yeah, it's walking down this trend line here is my 2 cents for the next little bit for sure. I mean, we got lots of price action in the dailies. And just with everything that we've been seeing right now with the market, it makes sense to me. This is probably gonna do one of these. And you should be looking at entries, I would like to think, in probably these ranges. You know, where it's looking like right now here today on the daily, my 2 cents. But we also know if this consolidates in these spread and breaks these lines and goes up, which is clearly able to do fast. $5.887. 5.9. 5.7. About 20-cent margin. Yeah, I'd be looking in this area for an entry too on the better side. But on the 4 hours, it's starting. This is where this is where money flow changes everything. On the 4 hour, this is ready to pop. Money comes in. This is off. The daily completely is different. But that also being said, we started to go straight there. It is coming up to the weekend. Money is probably leaving. Indication is it's going down for a bit more. Yeah, I'd be looking at your entries in these lower consolidation points for sure. Now you're going to have me doing research on what this is all about because these are nice swings. Yeah. Every time frame tells you a different story.
Do you think it's just a little bit different because it's such a young coin that it hasn't kind of found its groove yet?
I mean, it's a year.
I think it's just you can't see much when you're on the weekly. Just you know what I mean overall. So maybe I
Yeah.
think when it's a short weekly, I find that it's hard to find that confluence. I guess.
This is where it's fun trading on the shorts, and this is where it sucks. If you didn't get out here and you took that down, that hurts. Yeah, I still think we've got price action in this area does still seem to me reasonable. And that's where critical. Yeah.
Can you I just want to see where you put your thing. So
Oh,
you go,
I'm on the 30 minutes there.
oh
So.
that was fine. I was just looking at the date that you thought it was on. I just
Oh, the date wasn't where I thought for actual time. This was just price range. I was kind of just drawing. I don't know if I'm saying it's going to happen in March at that price point. Sorry.
no. When I was looking at the 30 minute. Anyway, just trying to see.
Oh,
I was just
sorry.
trying to
Go again.
see. You pointed to a point on that white line at the bottom, and you were like, "I'm thinking it's going to come down." I was just curious about what that.
Like I could see the prices come down into these areas and these areas.
Right.
Like here is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Which when you zoomed out was the high 5.9s and the low 6s, which made sense. And then this here in this price point was critical fear. So it kind of marks that this is a good price entry when that happens, but it's also because it had a massive drop. This is an interesting one. And nice ebbs and flows on the 30s is, sometimes a nice 2-3 day trade. But if you're not paying attention, even if you did, it's 14 hours. Interesting.
Space Boy says thank you.
I don't know if that answered any of your questions, Space Boy. Sometimes it just raises more. But yeah, on the shorter time frames, it looks like we're getting an entry to the upside. On the larger time frames, it does look like we are getting a better price point if this doesn't retest. If this goes, we're off. If it doesn't and wants to come down, we're going to be in these areas. Interesting.
Definitely something to watch, though. Hey.
Yeah. I like when that kind of like this is what I love about the space and getting to know people and sharing this stuff because I still don't know what it is. Gas. I'm assuming it has something to do with gas. Maybe on some ecosystem or maybe not. Who knows? But that's one of the fun things about this space and sharing our stuff. Speaking of sharing, let's get rid of that. We were talking about how I break down my trading budget. So the total fund, if I'm looking at 100% of all my money, I only leave 5% of that for swing trading. And then dry powder is cash on hand, 10% of all of that. That doesn't mean there's not more later. Some people freak out when they hear that 10. There's more in the allocation budget for that. But 10 is always nice for any opportunities that come up, any major black swan events. When we're in a bull, I don't have as much dry powder. When we're in a bear, I'm always a little more cautious. Set and forget is 20%. And this is the list I've been doing a whole bunch of DYOR on this week. Some of the tokens we've already talked about, and I've done on the hunts. And then the actual allocation, the last 65% of that budget looks like this. And this is our how we break down 65% now. So it was $10,000 for easy round numbers. Now we have $6,500. Of that $6,500, another 10% is going to cash on hand. Now, 20% is going to go to your blue chips, your majors. You know, you never don't want to be holding your Bitcoin or your ETH. But in bull runs, we watch that flow. And we'll mostly be in alts. And when we're taking our profits, we're either holding it in USDT or we'll hold it in our stables, in our BTC or ETH, depending on what the indicators are telling us. That 60%, these are the ones that we're looking at, for example, like Casper since day one. You know, or some of these other trades where we're in them for some time, but we're making decent gains. But when we've made 30%, maybe it's time to take the profit. And we look and we hunt for all those new entries, just like we kind of were doing there now with gas, Cosmos. And we start and we analyze them every single day. And once we start to look and start to build how we think these tokens are going to go or how they're working and where they might go, when you check in on them, it doesn't take that long. Okay, yeah, it's following path. Or, oh, shit, no, I totally misread that. What's going on? You know, and you trust your intuition, your gut, the money flow cycle. You know, you put all those together, you're bound for success. And then 10%, we haven't gone into too much. I put into staking at decentralized finance. It used to be a lot more in the past. And this is just how I break it down. This is not the golden rule. This is different than almost every other investor. This is just something how I look at it. Do what's comfortable for you. Some people might want more cash on hand. Some people might want a larger collection of, you know, Bitcoin versus alts. That's all up to you. This is just how I'm trading with how I'm seeing the market and the system that I've been showing you with the tools that I use. So with that, as always, I had to get into a trade. I felt, like I said earlier, I really did. Otherwise, I'd be accused of just standing on the sidelines. And you also don't want to stand on the sidelines for too long. I took some nice profit in Rose. I'm last time I checked, about equal in my position of injected protocol. I still think we are going to see a little bit back at that belly of the curve on the 4 hour, and then we're off again. But that's me still staying out of trouble. I am researching those sets and forgets and the price points that I'm looking to get in the mat. So it's not like, oh, here's a list. You know, these are the ones that I'm seriously considering holding. Some of them I already do, full disclosure. And then I'm going to not touch. And then we'll be talking about the ones in the show and then the ones on the Discord that we are in those little bit longer, that 60%, 65 allocation budget. The Crypto Katie, anything
I thought you were just sitting there not trading so you could rack up 17 days of not being a sheep.
It's coming. It's coming.
You just want to be a winner. Just want to be a winner all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
I got 2 full days, man. I'm killing it.
2 full days.
2 days. Quan had asked about Render. Unfortunately, because of the things you wanted to talk about, we couldn't quite get to that one today. So we may move on to put that on the docket for tomorrow. And then I'll probably take a look because now I'm curious. Maybe we can talk about it in the Discord.
I love Render. Render's been one that has been in my picks for a long time. I've played in and out of Render many times. Love the token. Will be a pleasure to mark up Render. It'll probably actually be on the list, to be honest. Outside of that, that's everything I've got. We kept it almost to shy of an hour, which we always like to do as well.
Well, I just wanted to mention, and you did great. Every time you start, you think it's going to be a short show, and then you just start chatting, which I love because you don't think you're going to do it and then you get right into it, which is amazing. What I did want to mention to everybody is, I think everybody did the modules a little while ago. And so we've had a lot of information. We put all that information into play. So I think that if you have time, and these are like short videos, right, Pope? It's like you've got your 3-minute videos, maybe your 9-minute videos, especially strategy indicator modules. Go back, look at the ones maybe you're not so sure about, that you've had questions about, that have been answered, but you're not sure, because they may start to hit home a little bit better, right? Things may start to make sense because you watch them at the beginning. So, I mean, in nursing, we always go back and I'm like, well, that's what that means, but you don't know everything at the beginning. So go back and check. Everyone's going to be sitting there on their phones. Watch a 5-minute video.
It's like the second time you watch Ted Lasso. You see so much more.
I still haven't got through the first.
It's just like it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
The sounds of Vancouver in the background. You gotta love it.
Sorry, I don't even hear it anymore.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, fabulous, fun show as always. Keep the questions coming in the Discord. We're loving it. Looking forward to Friday's show to give you a few surprises. Other than that, good night.
Thanks, Pope. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye. Always a pleasure.